Hey guys, today I'll be talking about a popular search algorithm called binary search algorithm. If we have a 10 element array and we want to find the value, say 72, the way binary search works is we start by calculating the middle index of the array. The value at the middle index in this case is 63. Subsequently in the algorithm we compare the value at the middle index to the value we're looking for. We compare 63 to 72 and we see that 63 is less than 72. We continue our search by taking the upper half of the array and continuing our binary search in this fashion. So we look at the middle index of this upper subarray and we compare this value at the middle index to the value that we're looking for. Compare 76 to 72 and we see that 76 is greater than 72. We continue by taking the lower half of the upper subarray, which contains 72 and 74. Calculating the middle index of this two-element subarray, we get to the value 72. Where I should note, when we calculate the middle index, it rounds down. So this is how we end up with this lower bound index containing our value that we've been searching for. Another way to look at this is if we consider this 15 element array in terms of a binary tree. If we calculate the middle index and observe the value at this middle index, we see the value 21. If we're looking for a value, say 27, we compare the value at the middle index to 27 and we see 27 is greater than 21. And in this case we step to the upper half of the array. And we calculate the middle index of the upper half of the array. And we compare it to the value that we're searching for. 27 is less than 28. Then we go to the lower half of this subarray and compare the midpoint of this lower half to 27 and we see that 25 is less than 27. Then we step to the right and we finally find our value, 27, that we've been looking for. And it's worth noting that this algorithm took 3 steps, where in a simple linear or sequential search, we'd have to scan through the first 10 elements of the array in order to reach the value of 27. Now that we've covered the concept of a binary search, let's turn to implementing a binary search algorithm in C++. We can start by defining an integer function called binary search, which takes in an integer array, an integer value for the low index, an integer value for the high index, and an integer value for the key, or the value that we're looking for. We then proceed by defining a while loop, which says while the high index is greater than or equal to the low index, we define an integer value for the middle index, which is the low plus the high minus the low divided by 2. We then say if the array value at the middle index is equal to the key, we return the middle index. If the array value at the middle index is greater than the key, we return the binary search function recursively such that we pass in the integer array, the low value, and for the high index, we pass in the middle value, or the middle index, minus 1, and we pass in the key. If the value at the middle index is less than the key, we turn to the upper bound of the array by recursively returning the binary search function and pass in the array the middle index plus 1 for the low bound and the high index and the key. And if the value we're searching for isn't in the array, we return -1. So now let's try to test this binary search function to see if it works. We can define an integer array with 5 elements, and the array necessarily must be sorted. And we can define a variable called array size, which is simply the size of the array divided by the size of a single element in the array. We then define a variable called result, which passes in the array we've defined, the first index of the array, and the final index of the array, which is array size minus 1, and the key that we're looking for. Let's say we want to find the value 90. If the result is not equal to -1, that means the value we're searching for is in the array, and we can print out the value is in the array. If the opposite is true, we return the value is not in the array. So now let's run this to see if this algorithm works. Since we know the value 90 is in the array, we should return the value is in the array. And we print out the value is in the array, so it works. So now let's search for a value that's not in the array. Let's say 40. We return the value is not in the array. So this is essentially how a binary search algorithm is implemented in C++. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching.